Um, so this episode, like I said, I'm going to talk about my performance at the Halfpenny Bridge Inn at Box Comedy. Didn't bomb, also didn't win, but had a good time. One of my friends who works with me as well, he came to the show, so it was kind of it was a nice little insight for him to see how I travel the comedy and stuff. Uh, Hello, welcome back to Al Talks. This is an introduction video which will be featured in every episode after this one, but here we go. So, this podcast is Al Talks. My name is Alex George. I am a stand up comedian, and this podcast I created nearly 2 years ago to just basically chronicle my journey into starting stand up. So, but there's other episodes that are nothing to do with stand up. It's just interest that I have. So there'll be kind of it's mainly based on comedy, but it is a general podcast as well. So, um, if you want to support me, I have merchandise. This lovely podcast sticker here, Al Talks. You can buy that. If you would like to buy one, you can go into my social media. Links are all down below in the description on my link tree as well. You have access to everything. I have an Instagram page for the podcast. I have an Instagram page which is my personal one, but I use that for comedy, so you can check me out there, follow me there, and that is all. Episodes usually come out on Tuesday, but sometimes they might come out at other days during the week. And then on Thursdays, if I am around anywhere doing comedy gigs, I record comedy vlogs, so you can listen to those. They usually come out on Thursdays, and that's that. So yeah, all the links down below, link tree. I have buy me a coffee now if you want to support me as well. Links for that down below as well in the description. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching, and now on to the episode. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. Another week, another podcast. This one's gonna be a pretty good one. Let's talk about. A little bit under the weather as well. Today actually when this releases, because it's Tuesday, is um is me performing Stitch's new show called Stand Up on the Spot, which is basically kind of like what Fake It Improv used to be. So pretty excited about that. But like I said in last week's episode, this week's episode I'll talk about my performance at the Halfpenny, because I decided to switch the schedule a little bit around because I didn't want to do the episode later in the week and whatnot. So, and the sun is out. Just there we go. And so this episode, like I said, I'm going to talk about my performance at the Halfpenny Bridge Inn at Box Comedy. Didn't bomb, also didn't win, but had a good time. One of my friends who works with me as well, he came to the show, so it was kind of it was a nice little insight for him to see how I travel the comedy and stuff. He had seen me perform stand up before, but that was at the show I did in the town where I live. About it was November. I did that show in November last year, 20. No, it was November 21. So yeah, it's coming up on 2 years since, nearly 2 years since see me do stand up. So it was pretty cool for him to see, come down and see the show, how all the inner workings of club work and stuff like that. Yeah, really, the audience was very strange because there wasn't so much hecklers. Well, there was kind of hecklers and whatnot. There was a dude from Australia who was very funny because he was just kind of quizzing people where they live, and then the MC Kevin was like, "Jesus, do you want a little fucking address there for where he lives?" He's like, he wants to know everything. And then there was a table of a couple of people from all around the world, and there's one girl from Belarus. She was born in Belarus, but she grew up in Ireland, kind of like me, but she just would not stop talking. So it's been very disruptive. She had to be told to shut up a couple of times. But before I went up,
for box comedy. Two amazing head knocks, two amazing headlining comics performed. One of them was Victor. Victor was actually doing his own solo show the next night in the Workman's, because the show happened on his show happened Thursday. Box comedies on Wednesdays, and he came up to, we were sitting at the back of the club. It's where all the comics sit down and hang out. And he came up and goes, "This is where all the comedians hang out." So we were having like a small conversation. We were just asking how long he's been doing comedy. He said, "A couple of years." He said he's on the road at the moment. And the Kevin announces him on stage, and he's like, "Oh, he's got his own solo show." Because the thing is, for the last 2-3 weeks before that show, I kept seeing his show being advertised on Instagram. And when he went up on stage, it clicked with me. I was like, "Oh fuck, that's Victor." And he did a stellar set. Probably one of the best comedians I have seen in a long time in the circuit. It's like, I don't know if I ever talked about Mike Rice, another great comedian from Ireland. First time when I seen him do stand up, I had the exact same impression. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is another sort of level of comedy that I have not seen in a long. It was just mind blowing. Like, his material was it was topical, it was relevant stuff. It was very, very well crafted. He had, like, I won't go into his jokes, but he had very, very good material. I was completely blown away. I was dying of laughter at the back. And then Eddie Malarkey headline. Eddie Malarkey is one of the MCs at the Crackdown here in Ireland, one of the best clubs in this country. And I was just like, I mean, the energy in the room was amazing. Even with the strange audience members kept interfering and whatnot. Funnily enough, no one didn't get heckled, or no one talked during my performance, because I was kind of expecting it. Because, I'm from Russia, she's from Belarus, is kind of expecting, because I have bits about, it's been strange being from, the Russian Federation right now and whatnot. But no, nothing of that sort happened. So it was a nice set. Just trying to work out the material for the solo show still. I don't know if I mentioned that I'm kind of working on that the last while. Just trying to basically run the material through a different number of crowds to see if it kind of is working as well. And so far it has. Most of them are sticking together fairly well. I'm going to try and sit down and write some sort of structure to. I kind of have a rough idea anyway, but still, that's that. So that was the performance. Before I finish off the episode, there's something else I want to talk about. It's basically things from a couple of podcasts. One of them is, I haven't finished watching it, but Andrew Schultz was on Joe Rogan. Actually, Joe Rogan opened up a comedy club in Austin, Texas, called the Comedy Mothership. It's been doing very well, and he said he actually runs open mic nights, I think Mondays and Fridays, or Mondays and Sundays. So if I ever go to the US, I would love to do an open mic at Joe Rogan's comedy club. That'd be actually like definitely a bucket list item. Like doing one in there and doing one in the comedy store in the US, in LA. It'd definitely be right up there. So, but they were talking about, I was listening to the episode yesterday, what they were talking about was kind of people in comedy that check you. And what that means is, say if you're going up on stage and being a hack. Also, what being a hack means, basically, it just kind of, you're not that good a comedian and you pretend you are, and you're just fucking wasting everybody's time, essentially. But it was also kind of people that, for them to act properly and in a how will I say it, in a normal manner, I suppose. I know in the US it's the scene is a bit different than to here, but those people still exist here in the scene. I won't tell you who they are, but they exist and they do check people. So if you do act the maggot, you're pulled aside and you're told behave. But like I said, the scene here is very, very supportive. So if, like if people need help, like I said myself, like in the past, Melinda, who's been on the podcast, he's helped me out an awful lot, and he still does. And there's a couple of other comedians as well that give me a lending hand, like Brian Gallagher, who came to headline the show that I helped organise, again, nearly 2 years ago. It's been quite a wild comedy journey, nearly the past 2 years, and coming up on nearly 4 years this August as well. So it was interesting. It was an interesting conversation to hear and kind of see if it applies to the scene here in Ireland, and in a way, it kind of does. Like, I mean, I've definitely seen people get basically blacklisted for not behaving appropriately. Once again, I'm not going to mention names, but there is people that have been told that they can't perform at these clubs because of their behavior and stuff like that. So, yeah, and then, and it's important to have that, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to perform. We're all trying to have fun. Like when my friend, he came up to me in work and he was like, actually, thank you so much for inviting me to the show and whatnot. I was like, I really enjoyed myself. I was like, this is the reason I wanted you to come up, just kind of see how I travel to and from and whatnot. And it was like, I just wanted him to kind of have the experience from my point of view, like sitting down with us, the comedians, hanging out and stuff like that, because it was like I said, it was an amazing show. There was, it was the usual hijinks of a show, there's people talking and whatnot, but it was an all around good show. And I met all the comedians that performed in box comedy. Well done to Andreas, by the way. They were all new comics that I've never met before. I've seen them, like I know who they are. Some of them know who I am, and it was just nice to meet new comics that are on the scene that I haven't met before. So it was really nice show. I really enjoyed myself. Really happy that I went to it. I was booked for it, and that's. I think one more thing before I head off. I don't know. Thought something was broken there. I was like, what? I don't know. Anyway. One more thing before I head off, which is, the other podcast was Joey Diaz, which comes out on Monday, and he was talking about kind of, he's saying that he gets a lot of messages on Patreon, Twitter, and Facebook about people saying, asking him advice for jobs and stuff like that, because he's worked in so many different industries over the years, and he was kind of saying, he goes, well, what you have to do is you have to kind of really have to think about things, and you go, why am I doing certain things? What are the pros and cons for me doing these certain things? And, he was saying kind of, he was saying that, well, lost my train of thought there. Yeah, he was saying basically, you some decisions in life you really have to think of. You can't just make it up on the spot. And he was saying, for example, he cut back the podcast used to be 2 days a week. Now it's only 1 day a week. Now, I've had my own problems with this, because, like, while I'm still releasing every single week, like a couple of months ago, it was like you would have seen the episode come out on the very last thing on a Sunday, because I was thinking about cutting back to, like, doing it like every 2 weeks or once a month or something, because sometimes, like I said, I have a full-time job. I'm trying to juggle a lot of stuff around, traveling for comedy as well. It's it can be very difficult, and I sometimes feel like I'm overwhelmed and whatnot. If it ever comes to the point in the pod, I do enjoy this stuff, but it does get kind of, I don't know, it feels a bit too much sometimes. Because, like I said, this is management. There's no one else helping me do this. And while that has advantages and disadvantages, it can be a little bit overwhelming. Like I said, there's precautions I've taken for that. Like, for example, recording an episode. I have an episode that I haven't released yet. And basically this episode is just, it'll come out. It was one of those kind of backup episodes that'll come out if I'm just too busy that week or whatnot. If it ever comes to the point where I won't be releasing once per week, what I'll do is I'll release 4 episodes a month at different times in the month. So you still get your 4 episodes per month, but it won't be every week if it ever comes to this, like a scheduled thing, which I don't know if it ever will. I don't know if we'll cut back on the weekly releases or whatnot. It's just something that I want to I don't know. It's definitely a thought in my head because like the reason I listen to these other podcasts is to kind of get me thinking about other stuff like that. So but yeah, so like I said, Stitch's new stand up on the spot show tonight. It starts at I think 8. Doors 7:30 or 8:30. I can't remember. I should know this stuff, but it's most of the shows start roughly around the same time. So Stitch's shows roughly around always kind of, I think, doors an hour before it opens. So if it's doors at 7:30 or 7:30, then shows an hour later whatnot. Trying to think about other stuff. I can't. No, I don't know. Like, there's nothing else really. Yeah, after that, I'll probably take a couple of weeks break and then get back into it. I want to go down and do a couple of open mics. Oh, actually, yes, there is news. The open mic live at the International is becoming a comedy club called, I think, Cheeky Monkey Comedy Club. Really cool name. And there's a couple of other nights have started up around Dublin as well. Like the scene is getting bigger and growing, which is great. And a couple of people are trialing other nights, even in the town where I live. A friend of mine started up. Well, the comedy club was starting in Galway, but it's been moved to this town. So yeah, pretty cool to have a comedy club in the town where I live. So hopefully be getting on that some stage. I'll say me traveling. I like same with the podcast, same as with traveling for comedy. It's okay, but at other times like Jesus, I don't know. It's definitely a journey, and it's a big commitment, which I still do on a nearly weekly basis. I don't think there's anything else really. I'm gonna leave it there. As per usual, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Links down below for everything, including the petition, which I'm still trying to sign. Well, trying to get people to sign. And I think that's it really. I'm going to leave it there. It's quite a long one, but like I said, I have a lot of things to talk about. Yeah, so I'm gonna go down and do Stitch's new show today, which is very fun. Stitch's is one of the best clubs in Dublin to perform at, and I really like going there and whatnot. Not even to perform, to watch the shows as well, because they have lots of amazing talent every single week. And yeah, that's it. So as per like I said, bit of a long outro, but thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I shall see you all next week. Bye.